All right, guys. So one of the biggest questions I get asked is, will these turbulent times ever be over? And the truth is, guys, they won't. Now, look, I'm a big believer that the obstacles that you face are a true sign that you're heading in the right direction. I'm a massive believer in that. And if you kind of think of life as being, an up road journey, let's say up a mountain, when you accept that that's what it's going to be, you never get to a stage of saying, I need to reach this point, and once I get there, I'm going to be content and happy. You start to realize that life isn't actually flat and smooth as social media may portray it to be, but rather, as you're climbing up this mountain, you're going to face obstacles. And at times, the journey on the way up is going to be a lot steeper. There's going to be unexpected turns. There's going to be things that are going to get in your way. And I think when you kind of see life as being a journey up a mountain or an upper hill, it's exciting. Especially when you say to yourself, at the moment, my life just seems to be on a flat trajectory. My life's not going anywhere. It seems like every day I'm just waking up and there's just no new color to life. Everything just seems to be very monotone and, I'm just doing the same thing all the time. And I think when you're on that uphill climb, at times when you get stuck, that's the times when you say to yourself, actually, guess what? Even though this may be tough, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. Because remember, guys, not everybody wants to better their life. Not everybody wants to create that 2.0 version of themselves. Most people are just happy living day to day. But the beauty of the signs that we get when we face these obstacles is that you chose the hard, okay? You didn't decide to just default back to the easy. And when I think of it, I think back to the times when I used to play computer games, and I'm sure some of you still do, or maybe did in the past. Some of you may have played Call of Duty. Think about that. When you got sniped or when you got run up from behind, you didn't just throw the controller at the screen or throw it on the floor and smash it up. I mean, I'm sure some of you did, but you was like, during this time, let's say you was on a kill streak, it's time to get vengeance, and you come back stronger. And you might be a little bit more cautious. You're not going to just run up into the center of the map. You might stand the sidelines and go round and trap people. You kind of think in new ways, and that's where the excitement and the buzz comes from, because you're like, let me evaluate this. Let me figure out how I can do this, how I can maintain a 12 kill streak or 2.0 or 3.0, what do they call it? KD. Or think about it if you was playing Mario in the past, right? It wasn't a matter of just, let me just get to the end of this level and jump and hit the flag and yeah, we've done amazing. It's like, okay, now I've done this, let's get to the next level. And even when you're free life, when you carried on, you didn't resign to defeat. You didn't, kind of cripple or cower to the obstacles that you're facing. You continue to pursue that. Even some of you who may have played Zelda in the past, I know that it was a massive, massive thing. A lot of you wanted to conquer that game. And for some of you, you would have looked at magazines back then, or cheat books, or cheat codes, or ask friends. It's not about the easy levels, right? It's about getting to the harder levels. And I even experienced that with my wife a couple of days ago. We were in bed and she was just like, let's do some brain puzzles. I was like, okay, this is a great time to do it. And we downloaded this word game, and, she was like, oh, it's kind of boring at the moment. And it was boring because it was like 4-letter words and you had to make up 3 letters and 4 letters. And she was like, I'm just trying to push through. I'm trying to push through to get to the harder level, because that's where the excitement happens. And I think that's very relatable to life, right? That analogy or analogies, that really relates to life. The inevitability of the obstacles is what's exciting. And that's what brings you back to these lessons. That's what brings you back to the charts every day. That's what wakes you up in the morning every day. That's what gets you excited on the weekend to start Monday. So don't kind of look at them as being bad. Don't kind of want them to be over, because once they're over, guys, I can promise you that's when life's going to get super boring. You really want to be focusing on identifying the things that are testing you. And what you want to be doing is embracing them. Don't try to avoid them, because the minute you try to avoid them, guys, it's almost like there's no more fight left. And the goal isn't to kind of hope life will be without challenges or think that after one victory, everything's going to be okay. The hope should be, you know what? I find enjoyment, I find satisfaction being the person that understands that after this hurdle, it's going to be another one. But through the lessons and through the experiences that I'm going to gain through this journey, it's going to aid me to be able to eventually overcome the next one. And that's what makes life exciting, these continuous challenges that we face on our journey. So when you face one, embrace it. Don't avoid it. If you think about a workout routine, right? When we hit the gym, we're not banging the gym out on the first and second set and saying, oh yeah, this feels amazing. It's only when you get to like the third set or the 10th rep and you gotta push those last 2 reps, but you're absolutely shattered, that you get up and you feel pumped. You're not excited about the 10 that you did, the 10 reps that you did. You're excited about the 2 reps that felt the hardest, that gave you the biggest kind of adrenaline rush. That when you get up, you like squeeze your chest together and you're just like, oh, it was those 2 reps that did it. Because once you come away and you rest for a minute or 2 and you come back, you're able to bang those 10 reps out again more often than not. It's those 2 again that are really going to give you that kind of oomph and that va-va-voom. And when you're going through that phase, it's the burn, it's the strain that really strengthens the muscles and really gives it that growth. And that's the same with your life. That's the same with you trading, whether you be trading for 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, whether you've had consecutive losses. It's the strain, it's the burn, it's the, feeling of being deflated that is actually the real catalyst as to why you're going to wake up the next day and come back again. Now, obviously, we have to factor in what you're doing on the charts to create that. But if you're not doing anything on the charts to create that, then that should excite you, because eventually with a proven concept, with a proven strategy that has a positive expectancy, what's going to happen in the end? You're going to get results if you just continue to push forward through that burn, through that pain. So focus on that, guys. Embrace it. Don't avoid it. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about, and it might sound a little bit strange, but you are your own business. And I know many people might think that it's a bit strange me saying that, but you are the company, especially as a trader, because as like running any business, you got goals, you got resources, you got strategies, you got KPIs, you've got business plans, you've got all the logistics that you have to kind of have in play or in place to be able to run a successful business. And there's a lot more to it. But you as a trader, you as an individual, me as an individual running my businesses, my trading business, my other businesses, whatever else that I'm doing, my personal brand, you've got to recognize that everything starts with you. And you've got to accept the fact that you are your own business, and you've got to really focus on empowering yourself and really taking charge to really navigate the ups and downs of what you're going to face. How do we do that? Well, there's 3 areas that I focus on. First is physical, because once you focus on the physical, then naturally, mentally, you're going to be in the best place of your life. And if you're mentally in the best place of your life, what's going to happen? Well, emotionally, you're going to be stable, or more stable than you would be if you wasn't focusing on those 2 other areas before that. And when you realize that you are your own business, you start to take life a little bit more seriously, because without you, there won't be no trading success. Without you, there won't be no family success. Without you, there won't be no personal success. And it's really important that you recognize that you are your own business. And I kind of think of it this way, if you're a sailor or you're a ship's captain, it's your duty to make sure that the boat or the sailboat that you're going on is well maintained. That the steering mechanisms are well oiled and maintained, making sure that you take care of the oars or whatever you call them. Excuse me if there's any captains or sailors out there, but making sure that everything on that boat is well maintained. Because once you get out there, guess what happens? Life becomes unpredictable. One minute the sun can be out, then the next minute the storm will be there. But you got to keep yourself abreast of how to navigate that boat, which way to face your sails, which speeds to go out, which direction, how to kind of face the ship when there's a big storm and the waves are coming. Do you face against it or do you face towards it? And more often than not, it is towards it, right? You want to be going over the waves that way, not turning your back against it, because if the waves come, there's a higher chance that it's going to crash the boat, right? And this is what I'm saying. You are your own business. So think about that. Take your time and really ask yourself, what am I doing to make sure that I'm prepared? Because everything that happens off of the charts, all the results that you get off the charts, all the results you get within your business, within your marriage, within your relationships with your children, guess what happens? Or guess why it happens? It happens because of you. The way you think, the way you perceive things, the beliefs you have, the stories you tell yourself. So something to think about. Next thing I want to talk about, guys, is the calm before the storm. Now, look, there are times when things are going to go silent, okay? There are going to be times where you're going to be like, I don't know what to do. There are going to be times when you're not going to have a strategy to maybe finish your project or overcome a period like July and August when the markets are very slow. And you're going to say to yourself, well, hold on a minute. What do I do now? And you're going to think back to the times where you say to yourself, oh, things were going really great, and now things are not going great. What shall I do? Well, you got to realize, guys, look, there's always a calm before a storm, okay? Like 1 minute it might be sunny, then we get the clouds, then the birds go away, there's no more chirping, there's no more nothing. It just goes silent. Then all of a sudden, thunder, lightning, rain. There's going to be the same with you and life, okay? And this is the time where you've got to be most vigilant. This is the time where you've not got to lapse and say to yourself, oh, I'm just going to give up. I'm just going to resign. I'm going to throw in the towel. You got to understand that life's rhythm often involves calm before the storm. And when I'm talking about the storm here, I'm not talking about things going terribly bad. What I'm saying is things may not be going according to how you want it to go or according to what you expect it to or the outcome to be. And you just got to realize that sometimes there will be a silence, there will be a calm, there'll be challenges to face. But after that period, guess what happens? The momentum will start to pick up again. And like I said, it's like nature, right? After a peaceful or still afternoon, there might be a sudden storm. It happens. But these storms don't last forever, okay? And once those moments are over, guys, these storms bring the most spectacular rainbows. And you just got to be the guy or the girl to make sure that you're continuing to pursue this so that you can reach your rainbow. And I think it goes back to the first point that we mentioned, the inevitability of obstacles. You don't want to avoid them. You want to embrace them, okay? By focusing on you as a business and recognizing that there will be a calm before the storm. Something to think about, guys. The last point I want to really talk to you guys about is really pushing limits, okay? Look, guys, I speak about this all the time, but there's so many of you out there that want to succeed. And I'm all for you succeeding, guys. Like, it's the more of us there are that are pushing towards our goals and achieving them, the better we can start having an impact on other people's lives. For some of you, you may have husbands and wives. Some of you, you may have girlfriends and boyfriends. Some of you may have girlfriends and boyfriends. Some of you may have children. Some of you may have family members that need support. Look, guys, with everything that we're talking about today, it's going to require a level of commitment. It's going to require a level of grit and determination. It's going to require you to push yourself out of your comfort zone, almost to a point of exhaustion. And now I'm not talking about an exhaustion where you kind of feel deflated and you're out and you just can't do this anymore. I'm talking about an exhaustion where you get to the end of the day and you say to yourself, I'm actually proud of myself, because there were points in this day that I said to myself that I'm too tired to even continue. And there will be days. But I can give you an example, right? If you work, you might go to work and say to yourself, do you know what? I'm super tired. Okay. I just really cannot be bothered to work today. You go into work with that kind of attitude and that kind of frame of mind. And what you find is whilst you're at work, you have the longest day of your life. And you leave work and you feel deflated and you feel beat up and you feel like you've been defeated. Whereas on the flip side, if you go into work feeling the same, tired, not being bothered, deflated, long night, restless night, whatever it may be, but you actually grind, you push through it, you count backwards, you say to yourself, do you know what? It's time to fix up. You take 3 breaths, you take full responsibility that this is a commitment that you have to, partake in or embark on or do, because this requires, without this, I wouldn't have a roof over my head, food on the table, wouldn't be able to pay for my children's school fees. And you just get dialed in and you focus. What you will find is that you land at 8 o'clock, you finish at 5. And even though you was tired, the same as you was before, but with a different attitude, by the time you finish work, you come out of it and guess what? You feel like Superman or Superwoman. You actually feel like you can fly. You actually feel like you've got so much energy that you can run 10 miles. What is the difference? Just this. Just this. The stories you're telling yourself, the excuses you're making, pushing past your limits, getting out of your comfort zone, pushing yourself, even though you're feeling exhausted, to a different kind of exhaustion, so that at the end of it, you feel proud of yourself. And what I'm speaking about here is about a fulfilling exhaustion, okay, that you feel after you give it your all, whether you're passionate about it or not. And I want to really encourage you to do this, because I don't know if any of you are runners, but it's like running a marathon. It's not the first few miles or hitting the gym. It's not the first few miles that define you, but it's the last stretch, where every fiber in your body wants to give up, but you push through it. And then by the time you finished it, give it 5-10 minutes, guess what happens? You feel like you can run that marathon again. You probably can't, but you feel like it. And that's where your focus should be. So the 5 points we've spoken about today, guys, is the inevitability of challenge, of obstacles. Okay. Look forward to them. Don't avoid them. The second is embrace those challenges. The goal isn't to hope for a perfect life. Perfect doesn't exist. Even when you become successful, you make money, you paid off your debts, you live in your life on your terms, you have the money, you're still going to find a way to be unhappy. If that be the case, then just take full responsibility and embrace the challenges that you're going to face, not only now, but in the future when you do get to where you want to get to. Thirdly, you are your own business, guys. I cannot stress this enough. Take pride in who you are. Become the best version of yourself. Master yourself. Become the 2.0 version that you can look down on from heaven or wherever it may be. If you don't believe in heaven, just look back on in the future and say, I was proud of that person. Fourth thing, the calm before the storm, guys. It's going to happen. Okay, you're going to have good times, you're going to have bad times. It is what it is. Get used to it. Everybody who is on this trajectory up that steep hill or that steep mountain is going to face obstacles. If life was flat and easy, you wouldn't be happy. Trust me. Final thing, pushing limits. Okay, guys, get to a stage where you push yourself every single day so that you're feeling exhausted by the end of the day, but are not exhausted that you want to pass out. Exhausted because you're proud of yourself, that you pushed yourself to limits that you haven't pushed yourself to before. 5 minutes later, you say, I'm ready to do this again. Until next time, guys, trust the process.